right, it's coming along here shortly. We are in the process of getting this going. First of all, hey there, Gino. Gene Protus is in the room. You're the first one here. Thanks a lot, Gene, for joining us all the way across town here in Houston. And my buddy Alan Gittleson, break a leg. Thank you very much, Alan. I appreciate that. And he's from all the way out in California. So thanks for joining us. This should be a lot of fun. Hey, Harriet. Harriet's here. Yes, indeed. So wonderful to see you here, my dear. We've only got about 7 minutes to go. Thank you very much for joining us. This is, we got about 9 people, I think, in the room, but thank you, those 3 of you who have said you are here with us, and so we appreciate you joining us. It's going to be a lot of fun here tonight. One of the advantages of all of you people who are in the room here tonight are going to be able to take advantage of some of the great discounts that Bill is going to be having from on his website. And so this way, in fact, I might want to just kind of throw this up then to begin with so that you have a little bit of a benefit right now. Since you got a few minutes, if you wanted to go and check out billwisch.com/products, you might be able to have a few minutes to see what kind of deals that he's got, and that's going to be for the next 48 hours on many of the everything that's on the website there, but then also for the next few days on the DVD. Hey, Tom Miller's in here also from Catskill, New York. So we got people from California to New York. So I appreciate we're getting nationwide coverage. Thank you guys very much for coming in. Appreciate you being here with us. I know we have different time zones, and so Alan, for you to come in on the time that you are, I know it's a couple hours earlier than where I am than right now. So thanks, Alan Gittleson over there again for coming in from California. That was great. And hopefully we might even get some other people from outside the U.S. who will be interested in watching this then as well live. Again, the discounts are going to be lasting for a little while, but you really kind of get first pick of a lot of this stuff if you go and take a look at this stuff now. Well, we got about 4 minutes left to go over here, and I already have a dozen people in the room. So thank you guys and gals again for showing up. I think that you will enjoy what you're going to see, hear, and learn tonight. Hello, Carol Epley. Hey, thank you very much. I'm glad you love the magic word. So do I. Thank you very much. Glad you listened. Appreciate it. One minute to go. Grab your pencil and paper so you can jot down some of these notes that Bill is going to be sharing with you here this evening from some ideas from Slydini on some coins and card work. Here we go, less than 10 seconds to go. I'm getting excited, I hope you are too. And there we are. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads of all ages. Thank you guys very much for coming in here this evening. We really are appreciative of everyone coming in for this special event. It's kind of interesting. I feel like, hopefully, I bookend the pandemic. We first started this back in 2020, and this was one of the first virtual lectures and live stream lectures that I think that anyone did on the internet. That I featured Bill Wisch, and hadn't done any of those, other virtual lectures on Facebook or YouTube since then until now. So again, hopefully this is the end of that, and we'll move on into in-person live lectures into the future then as well. So this is just a great opportunity to speak with someone who has a link to the past, and that is with Slydini, someone who has been there, done that, and has learned a lot, and is willing to pass that on and to teach all that information to you. I want to make sure that I read this correctly as to the information about Bill, who you're going to be hearing here. Bill actually is a 51-year full-time, I should say, he's older than 51, but for 51 years he has been doing magic as a professional sleight-of-hand artist and as a performer and an innovator. He is the only student that Slydini ever authorized to lecture his magic on his behalf. He is also the only person who Slydini gave permission to lecture on his original routines and techniques. Bill is the inventor of over 30 original sleights. He's a winner of multiple awards in magic and is proud of the fact that the majority of his magic he does is of his own creation. And so many of you have seen him before, and live and in person, and so please welcome my friend and yours, Mr. Bill Wisch. There he is. Hey there, Bill. There.
How's everybody doing? Hope you enjoy this lecture as much as I'm going to, and thanks for having me back, Scott.
Well, thank you very much. This has just been it's a delight to have you here. Again, it's been too long, 2 years, and it seems like forever. But here we are. And
you're right. You made the. I'll tell you, in some ways it went short, and in some ways it seemed like forever. But it's been a long time. I think a lot of people it took by surprise because they didn't expect it to be this long. But gave us a chance to do a lot of things we didn't plan on doing before, right? Catch up, so to speak.
Well, then, and that was something, by the way, that during this time, many of us were trying to keep occupied doing various things and learning things like, I don't care, cooking or whatever it is. Somebody was, we were all out there doing something. But you, from the very beginning, when we did this lecture, you were talking about putting together then a DVD on Slydini Silks. And so you didn't let any grass grow under your feet during these 2 years. You really put together a great DVD set.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. When we did the tour with you in 2019, we covered 23 cities and drove 13,120 miles. And thank goodness the gas wasn't as expensive as it is today. But we had a blast. Kevin and I went around and saw some really nice people. And if any of you folks saw the lectures, it was one of the favorite things we ever did together, and we appreciate you having us. But yeah, there were a lot of people on the tour that asked if because I was featuring the scarves, the knotted scarf routine during the lecture, and they said, "Are you going to have a lecture, a video of the lecture?" And I said, "Well, what I'd like to do instead of having a video of the lecture, in this case, is have a actual definitive video done of the Slydini scarves and all its components. For example, the basic knot routine and then the Houdini knots, which is a beautiful little routine that Slydini had created, and it's in the books, but you don't see it done very often. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anybody really do the Houdini knots except myself, and it's great. It really is. So you'll see that on this, and also discussed and demonstrated, and also the knotted scarves and silks, the routine, which tonight you're going to be, I'm not going to show you anything with the scarves per se, except a couple of, maybe one little thing, but just a little like a preview. But when you do get the DVD, you're going to love some of the things I added in, stories I added in, and little things that I've never seen any place else before.
Well, tell us a little bit about Slydini and your relationship and how you'd met him, or just some of your credentials with him.
1971, I got out of the United States Navy for, I was a musician in the Navy band for 4 years. And I'll never forget, I was in the middle of a hangar bay on the USS Forrestal, I believe, in the Mediterranean. And I had a book called How to Do Tricks with Cards by Turner. And I remember it was a soft cover paperback book. And I remember looking through this book, and I remember they were trying to describe a break, keep a break. And I'm saying, at that point, I closed the book and said, there's no way I'm going to cover this. I don't understand what's going on with a break. What is a break? What, So here I am going to do card tricks, because there was a guy in the Navy that I knew that did card magic. And I said, wow, that's cool. Wouldn't it be great to do that? Make a long story short, when I got out of the Navy, I had the opportunity to see Slydini, or to join, some of the clubs and get into magic, and then I more or less had the opportunity by chance to see Slydini perform in 1973, I think it was, November, and I said, gosh, I would love to be able to study with him. So I went up to him and asked him if he would give me a lesson. And he said, sure. And he gave me a card. And we started in December of 1973. And he asked me the first lesson. He said, what do you want to learn? I said, well, I'd love to learn those scarf tricks that you did. That's one of the coolest things I ever saw in my life. And I've only been doing magic for a couple of years, and I've only been going to club meetings, so I don't know a lot. But some of the guys at the clubs have been really helping me a lot. But I'd love to learn everything. He said, well, you come to the right place, he said. And so little did I know that 3 years later, in 1976, when the books had been done, his new books, he said to me one day at one lesson, he said, would you like to lecture? And I said, someday I'd love to lecture, because I had seen some lecturers. And he said, wouldn't that be cool to go around the country and lecture the magicians, And I said, but I don't really feel like I'm ready to do that yet. And he said, well, yes, you are. He said, why don't you go around and introduce my new books, because you're able to do it. I have confidence in you. And he typed up a letter for me in the studio and signed it. And he said, send it out to all the clubs and they'll book you. And sure enough, they did. We did 74 cities in over a 3 year period.
Wow.
and yeah, went coast to coast. One tour took us around the perimeter of the United States, so we've covered it all. And it was interesting in those days. They didn't have emails, and they didn't have a lot of things that they have nowadays. So everything was done by regular mail. So it took a week or two to book a lecture. But yeah, it was a very successful trip. I'd say trip. I did like 9 tours, little tours. Some of them were a little bigger. I think the longest we did was 9 weeks. But yeah, and what we did was sell the books as Slydini had just come out. The Best of Slydini and More, and then the Magical World of Slydini. And what I did was, I was fortunate because he had shown me everything in the books. We over the period of the 3 years, I studied with him every week, pretty much. I did about 120 lessons altogether. And there were some hiatuses when he would go to Europe or go to South America for a couple of weeks here and there, or something else would come up, and I wouldn't be able to go every week. But for the most part, we went every week and worked very hard. Most of the lessons were 3, 4, sometimes longer hours. And so he felt I was ready. And, it was interesting. He was right, because what I did was I would hand out the books when I'd go to the lecture, and people would pass the book around while I was doing a few things of my own. And then came the main course, and I would say, well, now I'm going to ask you to give me some requests. And they would have looked through the book, and they'd say, well, let us see this, let us see that, let us see this, do this one, do that one. And some of those lectures would last 3, 4 hours, but we sold a lot of books.
That's great. That's great.
And Slydini told me when we left, he said, I'm going to, sometimes my accent comes back. So he said, I'm going to give you the books, and you take them with you, and you sell the books, and you keep half of the money. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that, because I'm going and I have my own things. At that time, I came out with the Princess Card Trick, and nobody else had done the Princess Card Trick. So that was a real big seller for me, because they were handmade, and sold those and sold some other sleights that I had come up with. And so, but I said, you're going to get all the money for the books. He said, well, so that was what I thought I would be the least thing I could do to have, because I'm getting an opportunity, like, really to go around the country and meet some of the greatest magicians.
Right.
In the 1970s. It was 1976 to 1979. So that's basically where it started.
Yeah, you were really the guy who did all that.
I would say I think I'm the guy, because I've seen magicians do Slydini stuff, but it's got to be the way he teaches it.
Well, speaking of that, should now be a good time to show that clip of of what we've got on the video.
That would be good.
Okay, so everybody stay tuned and enjoy this clip from the DVD.
Hey everybody, we're here at the Sparta Avenue stage in Sparta, New Jersey, and we're going to start our personal lesson video on the Slydini knots. So come on in and let's have fun, okay? I'm going to tie a knot. Now every knot has a loop to start it off with, okay? Okay, so far so good? Yeah. And you stop me if you say anything wrong. Okay?
Perfect.
Right. Good so far, right?
Yeah.
Right? All right. It's a pretty tight knot, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Joe, how long do you think it would take, just with the fingers? No scissor, no fork. How long, honestly, do you think it would take to remove this knot with the finger? About.
I don't know, 40 seconds?
40 seconds, not 41.
Maybe 42
not 39. Not 40. Well, you're close.
Yeah.
You're close. What would you say if I told you, if you hold this in the hand,
Got it.
and that knot comes out by itself? What would you say?
That was pretty fast.
Well, most people say they want to see it again.
I'd like to see that again.
I take requests. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first part. You practice this a whole bunch of times until you can get, like you tie your shoelaces, eventually you don't think about it, right? So you're in this starting position, you're framing your face, your hands are open, it looks good, okay? Now you take the right hand scarf and put it on under the left hand scarf and clip with your thumb. Any places where he could get a better advantage? And once he got to the spot that he thought was the weakest, he would literally skate, and you can check those knots out, make sure everything's okay. The effect you just saw was the basic Slydini knot routine. That's the one that you would use where you have doesn't matter how much time, it's not too long, it's not too short. It shows the knots off the best it can be shown. It shows the reactions of a person, etc., etc. So I call that the basic routine. Now, Slydini did this routine his own way, obviously, and I learned he was very specific. He wanted it to be learned the way he did it, but then he also was very specific, at least for me anyway, that I do it my own way. So it fits my personality.
You must have started already something about my mates.
Oh, sure. Oh, yours is the best. Yours is the best.
But you went the right way. But some they don't do at all. They try to do, but nothing.
That's great. Wow.
Thanks.
I love it. This looks so great.
Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity, if I could, to thank Joe Garcetti, who owns the Spartus Avenue stage, for allowing us to use his great venue. It's a wonderful place. I teach there quite a while. For about 5-6 years, I taught a lot of classes, but he allows me to do the videos there with my best friends in the video world. It's Tim Fortune, who does a great job on editing and on taking the video footage. You know, he has all the angles covered, and I really appreciate both of those guys working so hard, giving me the opportunity to come up with a product like this. This is the finished product. It's a 2 DVD set, very comprehensive. It covers pretty much everything, and it's the way I would like to have had it taught to me if I was a student. That's why I did it in a kind of a lesson situation with one-on-one. Mm-hmm. But each disc is you put in your DVD player, or on your computer, and it'll have each one is signed myself. So it's a good product. I think you'll enjoy it.
That sounds pretty cool. Can you show us just a couple of things? I mean, I know we don't have time really to go in to teach you a knot or even anything, because we have other things to talk about, but have you got just a quick thing you can show us here?
Well, one of the things that really cool, I thought about what I could do for you, is a little nugget, I would say, because there's so many things on those videos that are really important, but this is something that you wouldn't think is important, but it was to him. And I'll show it to you. It's whenever you took the scarves out, it's the way you handle them up front. The first impression it always makes is the most important one. And he would say, the first time he did this to me, when he showed me this part of it, handling the scarves, he said, look, he showed me, when you make the little scarf, you hold it about this far from the end, and then you pick the other one up and you hold it about the same distance from the end, and you frame your face. He wants your face, when you perform this, try and get your face framed with whoever you're performing for. And he said, now I'm going to do something while I go in and make coffee in the kitchen. So he would go into the kitchen and say, now, while I'm gone, I want you to do this. And he would show it to me. He'd say, go like this, go like that, go like that, then change hands, go like that, hold it, get it back to the position. And it would take him about maybe 3 to 5 minutes to make his cup of coffee and me a cup of coffee. And then he'd bring him out and he'd say, keep going. And he'd go into the kitchen again. That's just what happened. And he'd say he'd get the sugar and the cream and everything. And he'd come back. And by this time, he said, he was looking out from the kitchen, keep going, keep going. And it's funny. The reason he did that is because he wanted it to be so second nature. The way I handled the scarves, he said, because if you handle the scarves well, and if you don't go too quick or too, jerky, people are going to enjoy watching. And he was so right. And you'll get used to the amount of space that you have to have when you really want to do the knot. And you'll have that face frame, which is so important. And of course, as you know, with Slydini, whenever he would do his gestures, everything was always about framing his face. So, and that's why his eye contact was so important as well, because they're not going to look at his eyes if he's not framing his face. They're going to look at his hands. So he was a smart man when it came to psychology. So this is one thing I go into detail about this on the video. Plus, as you can see from the table of contents,
a lot more.
It's a good. I won't lie in the respect to say that it's about as comprehensive as you're ever going to see. If you really want to learn the knots, yeah, and I'm going to tell you a little something. Slydini's magic, to be honest with you, is it looks difficult. In a way, it is, but it's not the same difficulty as it is otherwise. Other magic tricks and things. It's actually quite simple if you learn the timing and the misdirection and the psychology, and if you put in the time and work on those things, and you really want to study that. It's not that hard, because what's really a great payoff is the fact that you can carry the scarves in your back pocket. They're always folded. They're always pressed because of the body heat. That's what he liked about it. He said, I always got them nice and pressed because they're in my back pocket all the time. And all of his magic, the coins, the little case of coins or the deck of cards or whatever.
Yeah, I want to talk about the coins in just a moment. I did have a question over here from Tom Miller about where you get the parachute material. Where can you get the scarves?
Well, I cover all that on the DVD, but Sean Farquhar, I know, sells the scarves. He has the scarves made up very well, because I know I used to get them from Palmer Magic myself when Palmer was alive, and so I know Sean makes them, and so you can get them from him. Every once in a while, you might see a set come on eBay. It usually goes pretty quick. But if you haven't got the scarves, that's the best way to get them.
Yeah, I think Sean Farquhar actually bought the rights to Palmer Magic. So I believe if you just look for palmermagic.com, maybe, I'm not certain. But yeah, Sean is the guy who has that. Well, I said, speaking of coins.
Same as the other lecture we did with the pins. I know Sean has the Slydini pins as well. So.
Right. If people want to go back, by the way, and find that video that we had done 2 years ago, yeah, when you went into detail about the pins, that was just a great lecture. And yeah, Sean has those available. So let's talk a little bit then about the Slydini's coins.
Yeah, the first thing, and these little items I'm going to show you in this lecture are kind of seldom used, seldom seen, seldom performed, and things that you might not have heard about, or maybe have heard about them but never saw them done. They're not terribly difficult, but they are very powerful. So let me start off with one. Of course, he's Hangpin Shen in I think it was the early 1900s, 1914. Hangpin Shen came up with the Hangpin Shen move, and I don't think anybody in history ever had more variations of the Hangpin Shen move than Slydini did. And he had so many versions of coins through the table, but he had one version which was very interesting, and he had done his routine many times for people at conventions and shows. But then he wanted to come up with a version where the coins, rather than going down through the table, have them come up through the table as a surprise ending. So this is the first one, and you don't see many people do this, because he replaced it later on with a thing called the wrong way coins, which appeared in the Slydini Encores book, and it's a very direct and very quick way using the impasse. But this is very clever. It's basically, and I don't have a spectator here, so I'm just going to basically do it as if there was a spectator. And you show the coins, and you just let them see you have 3 and 3, and make a little motion and a gesture. And I don't know if you have a clip in a few minutes, or in a minute or so you can play the clip. But right now, I'm just going to show you the effect, and then you can show the clip, and you'll hear Tony Slydini do the pattern for this little effect. He'd show the 3 and 3 coins, and he'd say, now give me your hand under the table. And he said, no, wait a second, the other hand. And if the person put down the right hand or the left hand, didn't matter. He'd say, no, the other hand, I want you to put that under the table. That's right. And no, wait a second, just point to where your hand is. That's it. And then he would reach down and say, now grab my hand. And he'd hold on to the hand. As he did that, he would show the coins and spread them out on the table. So it's a nice ending. It's a nice ending to, if you're going to do the coins through the table, it's a nice ending to have the coins go up from the bottom instead of down. So,
shall I play that little audio clip here?
What's that?
Do you want me to play that little audio clip?
Play the little audio clip. You hear the pattern, because when I do Slydini's magic, I do it kind of like the way I do it. I'm very, but relational. But listen to Tony do it.
Look, 3 and 3 and figure out. Then miss, right? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to do anything. Just like that. You think I did something?
It's possible.
Doesn't matter. I'm not going to show the coins anymore anyway. But by the jingle, you should know how much I have in the right hand. Just listen. How many do you think I have here?
3.
3, right?
3. Yeah.
No more than 3.
No, I don't think so.
Now, here. How many?
3.
3?
3.
Good. Good. Okay with me. Now, once more, listen. How many here?
3.
You say 3?
3. Yeah.
Good. Now, here.
3.
3, right? Now, give me your hand on the bottom of the table. Now, wait. It's something that... No, it's the other hand.
Yeah.
It's... Now, point. I'm sorry, I'm an unfortunate teller. Point. Where's the hand on the top of the table? What did you say so? There, look. You see, it's funny.
That's beautiful. That's
It's
beautiful.
funny. For a magician.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know.
I saw
I
that.
try to correct you, no? I try to correct you. Confused. Everybody's confused. Some people say, tell you that, what's the matter? You got no brains? You don't understand?
There you go.
Yep. That's so you heard the actual voice of Tony Slydini doing that at a lesson when he taught it to me. And when he talks, and if you do want to look up the routine, it's in Modern Coin Magic on page 393 or 369, I'm sorry, Modern Coin Magic. And it's called the psychological coins through the table. And when he's showing the coins in his hand and he does a fast move or a quick move, he wants to instill something that you might have done something sneaky. And then he says, look, I'll tell you what. And he would shake them so you could hear them. He'd do that twice, each hand twice. And then he'd go under the table. Now, when he goes under the table with the coins, he would leave the 3 coins right at the edge of the chair, like this, at the edge of the chair, and then come right back up and say, wait a second, not that hand, do the other hand, use the other hand. And he'd go right down and he'd take those coins in his right hand and come back and say, wait a second, where is your hand? And he'd point with both hands. Where on the table underneath is your hand? And he would have he'd point. And then once he'd go like this, he would say, now give me your hand under the table. And then he'd slap down the coins. And it was a real surprise, a real, very, everybody they were expecting it, especially if he had it as part of his routine that the coins have been going through the table. He had 2 or 3 versions already with that. So it was kind of a nice little variation. So that's pretty much it. One of the nice things is really no sleights to this. It's just timing and misdirection. So once you go below, you leave the coins on the edge of the chair and then immediately go back with the other hand and pick them up off the chair and then say, wait a second. Now they forget which hand goes under. They even forget that you put your hand under the table. And then when you're pointing, they don't know you have nothing in this hand. And you say, point to where your hand is under there. And you go, now when I give you the coins, take them. And then as soon as you get under there, you grab his hand and you show the coins on the table. It's a great quick trick in a position where there's no real sleights to worry about. There's no real angles to worry about. So it's called the psychological coins through the table. And it's a nice variation of the coins coming up rather than going down through the table.
Now, you said that was in Bobo's coin book, but is that also in Slydini's books as well?
It's not in Slydini's books. The only place it's been in print is it's on page 369 in Modern Coin Magic, J.B. Bobo, and it's called Psychological Coins Through, and it's well explained. No photos, just some line drawings, but it's a really beautiful thing. It's a great trick if you really want a quick variation of coins through the table. And like I say, after he did this a while back in the 50s, when he came up with it, in the 60s, I guess he came up with the variation with the impasse, so it's much quicker. He brings the coins up onto the tabletop. So I don't think he really did psychological coins very often after that. So, but it's you can do both actually. It works both ways. I mean, if you wanted to do where you shake them a bunch of times, and then you come this way and you say grab, and then you're holding onto the person's hands and the 6 coins end up on the top. It's very quick. whereas the other ones you have to go under the table a couple of times and you make believe like you're confused and which hand you want, or use that hand, not this hand. So read the booklet, read the explanation in Modern Coin Magic, and I think you'll have a really fun time with that trick.
It sounds like it's fairly easy, straightforward then as well. So
No
it's
slides.
no slides. It's just setting them down and picking them up essentially, and it's just all in presentation. And
It's
those are
all
the
presentation. Yep. Once you
those
get
little
used to it, it's second nature.
Slydini subtleties.
Yep,
That's
there you
great.
go.
Moving on from that, speaking of subtleties, he had a 4-ace routine, I believe, as well. Do you want to
it's a
share?
Great routine. The Slydini Aces. We have another clip on this in a minute, but I'm just going to show you. I got to explain a little bit about this. This is in the magical world of Slydini. It's called the Slydini Aces. And I remember one lesson I went into the studio and took a lesson, and I said, Tony, could you show me your Slydini Aces routine? And he said, what's that? And I said, well, I was looking through the UGuards Magic Monthly, and on the front cover of one of the issues in 1956, you had a thing called the Slydini Aces, where you put the 4 aces into the pack. And he said he really honestly didn't remember the trick. It freaked me out. So the next week, I brought the issue in with me. And the first thing he did when I took it out of my briefcase was, oh yeah, he remembered it. So and then he showed me the effect. And at that time, he was just finishing up the second book with Carl Fulvis, The Magical World of Slydini. So that got put into the book. So I'm kind of happy about that, because if I hadn't brought that up to Tony Slydini about the Slydini Aces, he probably would never have been in the book. So it's a beautiful trick. Basically, you're showing the 4 aces, and you're putting them into the pack one by one.
Kevin, if you can tilt down a little bit there. Yeah, there we go.
You're putting them into the pack one by one. And then again, and you can see him do this occasionally. And he go like this, look. Well, when I did see him do this occasionally, he would just do that little phony move like this. And he'd say, no, I didn't do anything. Look. And he'd show, and it's well described in the book, great pictures, and he would show the 4 aces in the deck. And this was the fun part. He would show the 4 aces, and he would push them into the pack and tap them on the edge of the table, and then he would, in his inimitable way, he'd give you the deck and say, shuffle. So he gives you the cards to shuffle. And while you're shuffling the cards, he's just sitting there having his coffee or having a little cigarette. And then he'd look down and he'd go, what's this? And he'd show the 4 aces on the table while you're shuffling the deck, you know. So it was a great effect, psychological. Let me do it one more time. Now here's how it works. You hold the deck and you have a thumb riffle to the center.
Yep.
You put the first ace in, and I usually just leave it a little bit above the edge so they can't see the fact that you're letting one card go. One extra card you thumb riffle, and then you put the next ace in. You let another card go. And the third ace, and then you do 2 cards. Now you don't have to do 2. He never showed. He did 1, but I always put 2 because that'll enable you to show 4 cards at the end. And then you do that little funny looking move.
Mm-hmm.
And then you now here's what's happening. You're taking the cards, you're showing them, and you're squeezing them, squaring them up after you've shown them, and you're getting them into the wrist palm, which we talked about that in the first lecture, the Slydini palm. And it's a wrist palm where you're clipping it between the thumb and the heel of the hand, and you're doing what's called a reverse plunger effect, which, as far as I know, he's the only one that came up with this. And as you press, look, it's putting pressure on the cards and lifting out the other cards that you had between those cards.
Are you pressing forward or pulling backwards with that
No,
pressure?
you're pressing towards your thumb, towards your
thumb.
palm.
Okay.
So it's bringing up everything, and you strip those out. And you, of course, if your hand is covering it up, you can't see that. And then you show. Now you can't show the cards this time, but your hand is down here. I'll do it again in a second. But then what's happening is because you're at the point where you can show the 4 cards because you had those excellent, and then you push them in and have them start to shuffle. These you lap. Let me show you. I'll go through the handling one more time. This is a great trick. Put the first one in. Put the second one in. Third one. Fourth.
And are you stacking them on top of each other, or are you kind of having them spread a little bit?
Well, no, you put them right, one on top of the other, but of course you have that extra card in between.
In between, correct.
Now, when you do this little move, it breaks the chain of thought and chain of attention. So then you show everything, as you'll hear in the clip, when you hear the clip in a second. And then when you show them and you spread them out to show the aces again.
Very clean.
Now you show the cards one more time that you spread them out and you push them in and you say shuffle, right? What's really cool is that they're shuffling the cards, and while they're doing that, he spreads out the cards and shows them on the table.
Beautiful.
So let me do it one more time from the beginning. We're going to take one ace, put it into the pack, another ace into the pack.
Drop one card. Yep. Drop one more
Another
card.
one.
Then drop 2 cards.
Yep. And if you don't, it's not the end of the world. Do the false move. Show the 4 aces and say no, and you'll hear him talk in a second. So you'll hear the pattern that goes with this. Square them up. And of course, now that you've lapped the cards,
Right.
push them in, have them shuffled, take your time, just get them into your hand and spread them out over here.
Beautiful.
And while they're shuffling, I remember the first time he did it for me, and I had read it in U-Guards. I didn't know what to expect, and I had read it. And he fooled me because he's saying they're shuffling. I'm shuffling like crazy. And make sure they're shuffled good. And when I look down, he's already on his 3rd sip of coffee, and here's the card staring me right in the face, you know. And he's laughing, you know.
Let's take a listen to this short clip.
Sure, this is a great. His pattern will fit what I just showed you.
I have the 4 ace, right? Okay. Now I'm going to put the 4 ace in the deck. Ace number 1. Right? Ace number 2. Ace number 3. And ace number 4. What? You think I did something? I got news for you. I did something. Before I go any further, I have to show you because you think I did something. I'm going to show you. Yes, it's still here. Satisfied? Good. So good. Okay. Now, watch close enough. See? Nothing. I feel guilty because I used it for a long time.
That's good.
I used it.
He did it well.
Wow. Very good. Yeah, I can, after you showed that to us, when I'm listening to that, I can visualize how he says that. That's great.
Yeah, he had everything timed when he put the cards in and so on and so forth. And he was a great actor, you know.
Now you've got another effect you want to share with us.
Yeah, let me do the Gemini coins, which is really kind of a nice effect. It's it's one that it's not that hard to do, and it's one of the few coin across effects that Slydini ever did. And he used to even do this standing up at times. I saw him do it standing up because it's really based on timing. And I'll show you the timing that I use and the timing that he showed me. It's the same idea. You're showing 3 and 3, and you're picking them up and showing 3 and 3 in each hand. And then you do that suspicious move, and you say, it doesn't matter how many you think are in each hand. You don't have to shake them this time. And you just say, you think it's possible if I just take my left hand and just tap the right hand that I have all 6 coins over here in the right hand. And he said, well, it doesn't matter what you think. You think I might have switched everything. I didn't switch anything. And he shows the 3 coins in the right hand. He says, you know, everybody thinks I do something funny. And then he would go, not yet. boom, and then he would make the coins travel across, and you'd end up with all 6 in the right hand.
Wow. Wow.
And that was a very strong, powerful effect. When you see that done, people always, they jump, when they see that. Let me show you how that works.
Love that.
Same idea, 3 and 3. And this time, usually, I do it straight on, or if somebody on the right-hand side of the table, because you have to use watch your angles with this, because you'll see why. You do your little preparation. Now, while you're showing the coins and you're shaking the coins over here so that they see like 3 and 3, you can shake each hand first, but you get them into this position with the left hand. You get them between your second and third finger, the 3 of them clipped in like this. So when you're doing this, you'll be shaking them and say, now, 3 and 3. Now, when you come over here and shake this hand, you get them in that position. So now they're already in that position, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You say, now, do you think it's possible? And you take the left hand. By the way, this was on the Dick Cavett show in the second show, I believe, that he did in 1978, March of 1978. And when he does his coin with this, he does this routine on Dick Cavett. And he just says, you think it's possible if I just tap the right hand like that, I can have all 6 coins in the right hand? And they say, yes, no, what have you. And he said, well, it doesn't matter what you think. I want to show you I didn't do anything. I still only had 3. Now here comes the timing. He'll relax a little bit, and he'll with his hand, and he'll say, everybody thinks I do something funny. Again, that's that shoot, that gunshot. Everybody thinks I do something funny. And then when you rest, the hand falls naturally to the tabletop, and it's right next to the 3 coins. So if you do it in timing, you say, I have 3. Everybody thinks I do something funny. Now, you grab this, and as you go over with your left hand, you look at the left hand, and these coins are going across behind the arm. And when you get to the end, and over here, they just get pushed in with the others. And then you look at the left hand, and you make the transposition.
So, Bill, is that coming in from the top between your thumb and forefinger, or is that going between your fingers?
Let me show you
your right hand.
Side, from the side.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks I do something funny.
Oh, so you're clipping it between your index finger and thumb at that point.
That's it.
That's what I was questioning.
Then you're going all the way down.
And your elbow, basically, by the time it reaches your elbow, it's being pushed in. So you're
pushed in, and then you separate the hands this way.
So there's really no movement in your fist that way.
Look at the left hand, and then show the 6.
Very nice.
Now, it's called the Gemini coins in the magical world of Slydini. It's actually a coins across Slydini. I think it's the only coins across that Slydini ever really did. But boy, is this powerful. If you want something that's not that difficult, just get used to doing 3 coins and holding it to be done with $50. But if you get used to it, it becomes second nature after a while. When you shake them, you can just position that very, very quickly and get those in that position. And it's always hidden, and you turned a little bit to the right. So
let me see your left hand there again. I was under the impression you were actually clipping that between the base of your thumb and your 4 fingers, but actually it's clipped between 2 of your fingers, like between your
like this.
There we go. Yeah, but it's actually clipped between your second and third finger there.
Right.
Okay.
So that it's right there,
ready
to be grabbed.
Gotcha. I was thinking it would have been vertical instead of horizontal if it would have been up against your thumb. So that makes much more sense. I understand now. Thank you.
It's so easy when you do the shake. It's so easy. I'll show you from this side to get these. Just all you have to do is just practice getting these between those 2 fingers.
Yeah.
And they stay there. It's a perfect position because from the front, nothing really. You can't see anything. And then when you open up these 3, the direction is here. Everybody thinks I do something funny. Boom. Now your hand comes down here. See, that gives you a good excuse to come down and rest. and grab, then don't move the right hand at all. Move the left hand, and then when you get to this position, you push them in. After you're looking at the left hand, and then automatically you go back to the right hand, you go back to the left hand and show, and now it's done. You can't imagine how powerful this is until you master this, and just do it over and over and over and over until it becomes second nature, like tying your shoelaces. And you're going to have a lot of fun with this effect. It's called the Gemini coins, and it's written up in the magical world of Slydini. It's not that difficult once you get used to the timing, and it's worth the work and worth the effort.
That's great. Well, you have one final thing to show us, I think, on the Hindu delay.
Yeah, this is part of the Slydini legacy, which was first put out, started in February of this year on my website. If you go to the main page on billwisch.com and scroll down about halfway, you'll see it, Enter the Legacy. It shows a few pictures of Slydini, and you'll click on that. And what happened was I submitted these to a website back in the late 90s, and had it as a series. Every month I would come out with a set with a lesson. So what we're doing is putting these up every couple of weeks. We're putting up another lesson. So in a matter of a couple of years, we'll have all 38 lessons, 36 I think there are, lessons of called the Slydini Legacy, dealing with so many different things. One of the things, this is one of the examples, I think there's about 4 or 5 or 6 installments already on there. So when you go on there, you can check them out. They're really fun to read. But this is called the Hindu Shuffle Delay. And one of the things that made Slydini so clever, he used to be able to take a molehill and make it into a mountain. This is a small little molehill, but nobody ever thought of it. If you know your bottom, because it's the best force. He used to use it as a force all the time. I use it too, and I'll show you a trick in a second. But you just find out your bottom card, or if you want to force the bottom card, and you'll do your little Hindu shuffle. Now, when you normally do the Hindu shuffle, and it's, you can find out about that. I think in Amateur Magician's Handbook, they have the best example. But you do your Hindu shuffle until they say stop, and then just don't show the card right away. Most people show the card. I used to, and then put this card down. With the way he did it, he would stop and say, now, are you sure? He would in-jog it about an inch or two, and he'd say, are you sure you want to stop me here? Most times they say, yes. Okay, you say, are you sure? It's like, in other words, you're breaking the preoccupation. But then he would show the card like this. But he knew you were seeing the card, and he would turn away. But if you go like this and say, now say stop whenever you like, and you in-jog it and say, now, do you want to, you sure you want to stop here? You don't want to go further? Every once in a while, you get somebody to say, yes, we'll go further. Say, okay, that's okay, because they're being mixed as we go. Say stop again. And it doesn't matter if they say stop 3 or 4 different times, and you keep going. When you're ready, you say, now, I want you to look at this card. There's no way I could know your card. And I'm telling you, until you've actually tried this, now what I usually do is I shuffle them up. And I'll show you what I usually do. I'll have a person, I'll mix the cards, have them Hindu shuffled. They'll get to the point and say, now, I want you to say stop whenever you like. Are you sure you want to stop here? So on and so forth. Show the bottom card. Say, now, is there any way I can know that card? Now, I know it's Jack of Hearts, right?
Sure.
So I'm going to shuffle the cards up, really mix them up. Doesn't matter. This is what I do anyway. And I look for the card. And I say, okay, I know you think of your card. I think it's, in this case, I would say, I think it's a Jack. And they say yes. And I would show the Jack. And they go, no, that's not it. And I say, that's not the card. And I'd say, give me your hand a second. And then I put the card on their hand, and they turn it over. And of course, it turns out to be their card.
And they freak out.
And the cool thing about it is when you have the card shuffled, there's a little something I use quite a bit myself, where you can borrow a deck, just get a glimpse of the bottom card, and use the Wishcraft overhand shuffle system, which is in the Killer Set DVD, which we sold on the tour. And now the card is not going to go anywhere. It's always going to stay on the bottom, but it looks very strong. It's a great system to learn. Now you can do your Hindu shuffle. So they really don't know. So you already knew the card anyway before you even started. Look through and then just do a double lift after you see the two of spades, which you have that on the top. Get ready for your double lift and you say, now, this, you remember your card, you do your double, show the card, say, and they say, no, that's not it. And you can either put it on their hand or you can do your little spin thing and change it into their card. It's the simplest force, but the thing that makes it so strong, everybody, and the reason I think you should really try this, is it makes very, 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 very hard for them to figure out how you could possibly know anything, because it's a great shuffle. The Hindu shuffle is great, but most people just throw right away. They show it. But if you do it slow and stop, even if it's 3 or 4 times, and show it, slap them down, and then you can shuffle them really because you know the card already.
Sure.
It's a beautiful, beautiful effect. I think you would enjoy it. It's called the Slydini Hindu Delay, and it's part of the series, the Slydini Legacy, which is on the website now on the front page. You can get to that every 2-3 weeks or so. 2 weeks, we try and put up another installment. So we have like 31 left or something, 30. So it's going to cover a lot of cool things. You'll be surprised how neat it'll be.
And that's over there at the billwisch.com, and they can get
correct.
more information over there on products then as well.
Yep.
Well, I was wanting to see if we had any people who had some comments or something as far as questions or something. At Steve Orlando saying, hey, Bill, hello.
Hey,
thanks.
good old Scott. How you doing, Scott?
He's really enjoying it, and as well as Frank.
And Frank, good to see you, Frank.
Good to see you there too.
Great seeing you up in Michigan.
And
Bob, good old Bob
Yep.
from Cleveland. We had a lot of fun when we met in Cleveland that time. It was a lot of fun. He's a great magician, Bob.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions or anything, please, now's a good time for you to bring that out. And so, are there some other things that you would like to discuss or to mention while we've got you in this? I mean, right now, this is a very valuable time. I mean, for people to actually have a one-on-one time here with Bill Wisch. So if you got an opportunity to, I mean, now you do have an opportunity to ask any question that you want about this or Slydini or something else that might be in the books, or again, someone had asked earlier
I
about
love
where to get
personal
the
questions. No, I'm kidding.
about you get the
Nobody
silks, of
ever
course,
asks me personal questions.
from Palmer Magic. But if there are some other questions in the meantime, I thought it'd be a good idea for me to kind of see if I can throw up this picture here of the of your pricing list, because I was saying we've got some really good deals. Let me get that other banner out of the way right there. There you go. You can see that. Do you want to talk just a little bit about what you've got as far as some of these things?
Sure. Well, I have actually DVDs here. The Knots DVD, you already saw that. I think you can see it if I hold it on the edge like that.
There we go. Yeah.
That's the set I showed you before, ready to go. And I think if you do want to learn the knots, this is by far the best way to learn them.
One other thing, by the way, that someone had just asked here again, Scott Orlando had asked, where's the best place to buy the scarves? The recommendations, it would be, as Bill had said earlier, that Sean Farquhar sells them through Palmer Magic, and I think somebody can probably do a quick search. I believe it's palmermagic.com, and you might be a direct link to those as well.
Yeah. He does a really nice job on those scarves. And if you're going to learn the scarves, you want to have good quality scarves, because they can't be too thick. I mean, they'll work, but it's not going to be as easy to learn, you know. Those scarves I used before were actually Slydini's scarves. He gave them to me. He gave me, over the period of the years that I studied with him, he gave me 5 sets of scarves as gifts, because when he would come to my house or stay overnight or whatever it was, we were going to go somewhere, he would always give me a pair or 2 of scarves. He made them all by hand on the little sewing machine that he had. It was great. I still have those. I still have 1 set that I haven't touched, and this is a set that I use quite a bit. And I have the other 3 sets. And he used to say it never go bad, because if something goes wrong, just have it rehemmed. So I have those. I have all of them still.
Yeah, but, Bob was saying that they've got also the silks on the same site. I'm sorry, not the silks, but the Slydini pins there as well.
Exactly.
And also pins. The different sizes, the 18 and 24-inch silks.
Exactly. Now, as far as DVDs, there's another special you'll see on the price list. This is a disc that a DVD that came out a while back, but It comes with the contents inside, and it also is hand signed. I hand sign every DVD I sell because it's a personal thing to me. I want to make sure everybody at least, knows that I made it myself. It's called From the Vault, Bill Wisch Convention Lecture 1992, and there's a trailer on my website with that. And here's another one that just came out. This is being released for the first time as well. From the Vault Slides, from 2009 convention lecture that I gave to the Magicians Roundtable here in New Jersey. I did about 8 different lectures for them over the years. They were in existence over 50 years. Very, very popular venue to do for magicians to come in and lecture. They would have a lecturer every month, and I was fortunate enough to be there quite a bit. But I did this lecture in 2009, and many of the slides that I've come up with over the years are in this list. And you can see this done at the lecture. It's well done. This is a special. You can go on the website and purchase these separately, or you can get a real good discount, as you can see on the list, if you get both of them as a package. So those are something you might be interested in if you want to see some more things. This is the killer set that we sold out on the tour, and I had this available 2 years ago at the lecture. It was very, very successful. You have the whole Wishcraft overhand shuffle system, which is really, I think, worth 5 times the price of the DVD. This is on very deep discount as well for the next, I think it's 48 hours. And
everything looks like it's at least 35% discounted. I mean,
yeah, it's a really, you've got Icon in here, which is good. Any card at any number, but it's impromptu. That's why I call it Icon, ICAAN. Mm-hmm. And it's got the flim flam move on there. I know a lot of people have been wanting to see the flim flam move. It would take too long to show it to you, but if you buy this DVD and see the ICANN routine, I think it's as good as. And Carl Fulvers said to me, he wrote a letter to me when I had sent him a copy of this, and he wrote back and said, as you can see on my website, it's on there. What he said it's a phenomenal move, and he loved it. He fooled him like a bunch of times, so you can see what he said on the website. But this is really, it's got other things too. It's well worth the investment. But for any card at any number, I think I use the any card at any number every place. It's the first trick I do when I walk up to a table. Think of a card, think of a number, and then I have them remove the card. And if you follow this routine and do the flip flam move, it's a really great move to turn the deck over. You're going to have a miracle. Everybody goes nuts when I do that. Then you have the Wisch wedge, which is used to be called the Phantom Techniques, but that was transferred from VHS when I had it done by the Magicians Video Network in 1993, I believe it was, and then they transferred it. We transferred it over from VHS to the DVD, and it comes with the printed instructions as well. Different instructions for the push off and the pull off. This is you'll see on the website when you read the description what all about this. And we got the personal lesson paper balls to the box stand-up version that I came up with years ago. Did it at the SAM convention in 1990 up in Stamford, Connecticut to 1,200 people. They loved it. I did it on stage. So it's a very strong routine with the wand and with the paper balls to the box, basically the same routine, but done stand-up without a savant, a table savant. So then that's really well set up so that you can learn it well. It's pretty comprehensive. The Palm Change it's a great booklet. It's got a lot of different different illustrations. If you saw the first lecture, you know more about that. So this I also highlighted the first lecture in 2020, April. I think it was April 13th, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the lecture notes for the Slydini lecture that I gave in 2011 for you when we did Florida.
That was a great lecture. Wow.
Yeah, 2011 I did some, then 2012 I did some, and 2019 I did the third tour for you. So thank you. But we really
solid material all the way through.
Great material. And Marietta came out with the videos that that got really good reviews from G&I Magazine from Bill Wells. Thank you, Bill, if you're watching this. I'm really happy with these 3 DVDs. What happened was I put them on DVD as opposed to 2 DVDs, by the way. So you get everything here. But I think Mayer sold them as downloads, but we sell them as DVDs. So if you want to get them on disc, we have them at a price. You can contact me for that, and I'll give you the information on the cost of those.
Where can they contact you?
On the just send me an email.
Bill@billwisch.com.
Yeah, you'll find my email on my website. This is called Slightly Out of My Mind. It was my lecture that I did when I did the 2009 lecture at the Elizabeth Roundtable. These were the lecture notes that went along with it. So if you're interested, you might want to get this. So you have printed instructions that go along with the actual, these are the lecture notes for that lecture. It's called the Slides lecture. And that was the last lecture I put together before I came up with the Slydini lecture in 2009. 2010, I'm sorry. And then the Invisible Die, which is I only have about 14 of these left. And this is a great effect by Claude Ricks. You can hear more about this, I believe, on the first. I don't know if I had this on. I think I did. I don't think I did. It's called Claude Ricks was the first lecture I ever saw in 1973, I believe it was. And no, 1971. I take that back. In summer of 1971, and I was blown away. And I saw him a second time when he came back across the country in 1971 and saw the lecture again. And I fell in love with this effect. And I tried to contact him way back when I started lecturing, but I couldn't get a hold. I didn't know his address. So I figured I'd give him credit, which I always gave credit. And I always give credit where credit is due. I've always done that throughout my whole career. So this is a great deck. If you're not familiar, it comes with a DVD, which it might call the Invisible Die. And once these are gone, I think the effect is pretty much run its course. But if you haven't got this, pick one up because it's a great self-working trick. No slice or anything like that.
And that's the that's with the DVD and everything there too?
It comes with the DVD as well. Yeah.
It says regularly $9.99 on sale. I'm sorry. Regularly $19.99. Yeah. So it's half price, $9.99.
Half price. Yeah. There's a lot of good discounts here. I remember when we did the first lecture, I think we did that pretty much the same thing because we wanted to give back a little bit because of the pandemic. Well, it's been over 2 years, 25 months since the pandemic started. So it's time to do it again, give back a little bit because it's not easy for everybody.
Yeah, I think everybody's hurting to a different degree. That's for sure. And these prices on the things on your website are going to be good for the next 48 hours. That's good through
Correct.
7 o'clock Eastern time.
Drastically reduced for 24 hours. And as long as you get your and from anybody around the United States, we'll get, automatically postage added to it. It's reasonable for postage and handling. But if you're out of the country, please do me a favor and send me a list. Email me a list of the items that you want to purchase, and I'll get back to you with the exact cost so you don't overpay for your shipping to wherever it is that you want them shipped.
Right.
Rather than just put it on PayPal because it won't do the overseas cost.
Shipping, right. You said 24 hours, but it says over here 48 hours actually, so it's 48 just for 2 days.
48 hours and as far as the scarf videos, they're going to be for a week. Because some people
the 17th,
do
right?
This for a while, and I want those scarf videos to be available because it is a 20% discount, and it's if you really want to learn the knots, you found the right place. It's like when Tony said to me, "You come to the right place." I really wanted to learn the knot. It took 6 months when I worked with him on the knots, and he showed me every little nuance. I remember so many times we'd spend 4 hours straight on the one section of the knots and then come back the next week and put 4 more hours straight on the knots for a few weeks. There were sometimes we did several things, but for the most part, we would stick to those knots, and for 6 months. And that was one of the things I highlighted when I went around the country for the different lecture tours. So everybody seems to enjoy seeing it done the right way,
They are, and you're teaching them the right way as well. Again, you are passing on history from the great, from Slydini. So
I appreciate that because I'm trying to make it. I respected him. He was a good friend, not just a great teacher, but he was a good friend. And when he had confidence enough in me to sponsor me to take his place on these tours, I really I can't tell you how much it meant to me, and I never ever wanted to abuse that privilege, and never wanted to take advantage of Slydini's faith in me, and always wanted to do the materials that he showed me the way he would like to see them done, because he was very particular. And I think I've been fortunate enough to carry that out since 1976 when I got my first lecture.
Just a quick question before we close over here. Are you going to be planning to go to Las Vegas to Magic Live by chance?
No, not this year.
Okay, not this year. Okay. I was going to mention if you're there, then I thought you might have those available as well. So that's another thing, since Magic Live is coming this weekend, and a lot of people who are watching this right now are going to be attending, including myself. Those who aren't, be sure to tune in then to the Magic Word podcast. I'll be, of course, giving daily updates as I normally do from conventions, so I'll be attending that for all the days, and it should be just a lot of fun with a lot of new stuff. But my point is that if you're not planning on going, then maybe you have a little bit of extra money in your pocket, and that's something then to go and check out then billwisch.com /products in order to get the deals, because again we got these specials that are running, and again, if you need to contact Bill directly, that's Bill at wisch-craft.com, so that way you can ask, and then again for information on foreign shipping and that kind of a thing then too. Bill, any last words you would like to say or share with anybody?
All I could say, Scott, is you've been a good friend, and I really thank you so much for not only all you've done for me since 2009, but also, for doing this lecture today. And I want to thank everybody who's watching for watching. And, I'm always a little bit concerned about the time, and if I can squeeze in enough material, make it. I usually overdo the teaching. So, but in this case, I wanted to just at least give you the bare bones of everything, so at least you could enjoy them. I think you'll like these 4 effects. And if you do purchase any items, I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. So thanks, Scott, for having me on.
You're quite welcome. This has been just a great hour we've had, and a lot of good material. And so for those who might have come in a little bit late, this is going to be rebroadcast again. You can go to YouTube. You can see this on my YouTube channel, and so be sure to subscribe to that, youtube.com/Texas Magician, or be sure to go back to the Facebook page, and this will be there again in perpetuity. So again, we did this 2 years ago. You can go back and find that video again on the YouTube channel or on this Facebook page then as well. So thank you guys for tuning in, and and Bill appreciates also you patronizing him as well. And this is a great service that he has done in spending his time to put together a wonderful DVD on Slydini Silks. So congratulations and good luck with that, Bill.
Thank you very much. I think everybody who purchases it will be very happy and very pleased with the comprehension. It's a great video set.
Well, thank you guys again very much, and until next time, hopefully we're going to be doing this live in the future, but from time to time we might still have some opportunities to be able to access the world the way we have here, because I know we've had some people. I saw Thomas Frapps came in from Germany. We have a lot of people who are coming in from all over the world who have been watching this as well. So thanks all of you guys again for coming in, and thank you, Bill, and also thank your son Kevin very much for doing the AV work on you then as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you're the best, Scott. You are. When it comes to this kind of thing, there's nobody better.
Thank you very much. Please put that in writing, like Slydini did for you. So for the Magic Word Podcast and Bill Wisch, this is Scotty out. Hope to see you guys in Vegas at Magic Live.